Alors, for those who don't know about Quebec, this is where Quebec is. This is one of the largest, the largest province in Canada, quite close to the North Pole, though. And if you don't believe me, let's. This is not the good one. Anyways, I had a picture of my hometown taken last week. We had about that snow in the street. So that was a really nice picture, but I don't see it here. Anyways, this is Quebec. Population is 8 million. The official language, as you can see, can hear, it's French. And the AMF Quebec regulates the financial markets. We're not just securities. So our vision is a vision of financial education rather than investor education. This is quite interesting to establish some educational campaigns. We have a powerful tool, which is the Education and Good Governance Fund. In fact, we take the money from the bad players. Penalty that we can collect is reinvested in financial education program. Each year, we have an envelope of $3.9 million for academic research, for financial education projects by our partners, and also our own annual financial education campaign. So it's quite a lot of money for 8 million population, and we are really happy to have that much money. But, of course, we need results, and that's why we work on an index to be sure that what we are doing is the best thing we can do, and that we also can measure the result. We start working on the index having these two elements in mind. First, we may have a very high level of knowledge and not always doing the right choices. I'm the first one to experience it on a regular basis. And there are also some behaviors that are relatively easy to adopt, whatever may be our level of knowledge. So that's why we didn't go with knowledge, we go with awareness. So our own index is basically from the messages that we send to people, messages that we have in our brochures, in our website, simple behaviors. Behaviors, in fact, that we would like the most people to adopt. And this index has been developed in conjunction with our strategic plan, and more recently with our national strategy, National Financial Education Strategy in Quebec. The sample of this index is 1,500 respondents. But these respondents are responsible for financial management in the family. If they are not taking part to the survey. This is a web survey because questions are quite long to read. We wanted people to take time to read and understand the questions and the answers, the choices of answer. And we also think and believe that through a web survey, people may be more honest than when talking with someone on the phone. So they can give us probably better answers on their behavior. The index is also based on the respondents' experience with the products. If, for example, the person doesn't have a car and doesn't have any car insurance, well, he won't answer these questions. So he won't be penalized at the end, not having the experience with this specific financial products. The index is made with 40 questions. This is the global index, the Global Financial Awareness Index. The 40 questions refer to an ideal set of financial behaviors corresponding to our key messages. Once again, there are 10 thematic sub-indexes, as you can see here, from personal finance to dealing with a financial advisor, which is a very important sub-index for us, to life insurance and retirement planning. Total 40 questions, 10 categories. So if I can explain what the index is measuring, it's showing us how Quebecers score for a set of 40 questions for which they were eligible to answer. It refers to the fact that the respondent recognized the usefulness or the relevance of certain behavior and adopts it on a regular basis. So these are the two key elements of our index. And you'll see it in one example of questions that we have. Before doing business with an advisor to invest, do you think it's advisable to check with a regulatory agency whether this person is authorized to sell you the financial product? And the choices of answer is quite important too, of course. The first one, yes, whoops, I turn it off. Interesting. Okay, it appeared. The good answer, if I may say that, is yes, and I do so. So it tells us that the person is recognizing the importance of this behavior and tells us that it adopts it on a regular basis. We have another example concerning financial planning. So you may read the question regarding financial planning for your retirement. Do you think it's necessary to consider the following aspect? Your life expectancy and the possibility of living longer than the average. So once again, the choices of answer are there. And the good answer for us is this one. So we took key behaviors, and this is really helpful to establish our campaigns, to focus on some specific messages that we have to for our campaigns. We have done it 3 times. In 2012, you see the result, 2014, and more recently in 2016. So there's an interesting growth in the resolve. In fact, this is showing that on average, Quebecers scored 61.2 on all questions for which they were eligible to answer. We have some weak points that we have worked on it, that we try hard to work specifically on these 3 points. The dealing with a financial advisor. We work hard trying to help people having the right questions to ask to their financial advisor. Unfortunately, the results are not yet there yet, but we won't give up. We'll keep on putting some good questions in mind of people, and we hope that we will adopt them in the next future. For retirement planning, we had some very interesting results. We don't know if it's only because we did a lot of publicity on that. Of course, there is a socio-economic context that may help, but we are really happy with this one. As with fraud prevention, results remain the same since 2012. I want to tell a few words on a paradox that we have found during the 3 edition that we have done with this index. It's called the financial advisor's paradox. The dealing with a financial advisor sub-index is the weakest link in our index. It seems to be the Quebecers' weak spot. Ironically, as you may see, the fact that a person is dealing with a financial advisor considerably increases the index average. Quebecers dealing with the financial advisors have an average index of 64.1, compared with 52.3 for those who do not work with the financial advisors. Up to a certain limit, we may say that if you are working with a financial advisors, you may, on average, adopt probably 5 more good behaviors than if you do not. So for us, it's really important to send the message to people on how to create a good relationship with financial advisors. This is a relationship that may last longer than any marriage may go up to 20, 30 years. We also work on a factor analysis. I won't take too much of your time on this, but we have been able to identify 3 typical profiles. The first one, of course, is the knowledgeable. These are, as you may guess, the ones who are aware of the importance of the good financial behavior and declare to adopt them on a regular basis. The ambivalent group is really our focus, our target group in our campaigns. These are the ones that are aware of the importance of the good behavior, but they declare that they don't adopt them on a regular basis. So they just need a little push in the back to adopt 1, 2 more good behaviors. So we focus on them to make sure that they will soon adopt more good behavior. And finally, we have the indifferent group, which have almost no interest in adopting new behavior. Just to finish, these are extracts from our report, which is available on our website, and I can, of course, made it available for all of you. For retirement planning, it gives us very good and relevant information. So for this one, in terms of retirement planning, we see that Quebecers are adopting more vigilant behavior, in particular by taking inflation and life expectancy into consideration. This is the result of some new tools that we have developed, some campaigns that we have done to make sure that people are taking these very important aspects, they take it into account. However, as we may see, only a minority of Quebecers, and we see it almost everywhere in the world, verify whether the amount they have saved is enough for their retirement. Even though we have not a very good result, it's a lie for us. It's something very interesting, but because it tells us that we still have to work on this specific behavior, and as a result, we have developed a specific calculator that may be very helpful for investors, and we will promote it for the next years to come. Another and the last example, this relationship with a professional, we see that Quebecers seems to have a complex relationship with advisors. They tend to not to shop around or to ask them what products they are authorized to sell or how they are paid. So we want to keep on working on these specific behavior to make sure that the result will be there soon. And just to finish, the other information in the middle, in the case of a dispute with an advisor, half of Quebecers would go for a drastic solution and move their account elsewhere. That's not what we want people to do. We want them to have a good relationship with them. So this is once again a message for us to focus on some other specific messages to send to investors, to people, so they will be able to know, for example, assistance services that the regulator may offer, but it also tells us that we have to work to make sure that they will be able to construct a productive relationship with their financial advisors, and they won't be afraid to ask questions to make it productive. So we may continue with the result, but it's really a powerful tool for us, not only to decide which message we have to focus on, but also to tell us if we are doing the right things. That's it. Obrigado. Thank you.